subscribe and follow us then. Thank you. Over to Casper.
Thanks so much, Tumelo. Welcome everybody to today's session. We only have a few small house rules for today. We would like to ask everybody to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones to keep all the background noise to a minimum. If you have a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand, or if you have some mic problems, please add them to the chat area. There will be question and answer sessions between the presentations, and then that's all from my side. Over to you, Dr. Gous.
Awesome. So I'm encouraged that everybody's coming back after yesterday, so we didn't chase them away. So team, I think we're doing a good job here. So really welcome everybody. Absolutely, you are really welcome on this happy Tuesday. And I actually, Tumelo, I think we need to start using those polls again. I would really like to know, like, how many of you have never programmed anything before? Like, this is programming, the start of your programming career on the 7th day of June 2022. So I mean, everybody's got to start their programming. I started programming on punch cards a gazillion years ago. Yeah, but you just keep learning, and so I encourage you just to keep learning. And what you as coaches are then imparting to your learners in your robotics teams is the principles of programming. And I think you need to keep that in mind. So at all times when you're teaching programming, you've got to do it properly. You are laying the foundations for their programming skills. And then a lot of the programming is perseverance, and it's about problem solving, and it's about getting it right. And you can make corrections if it's not correct, but you just keep going. So often, the kids were like, I can't do this because this robot's misbehaving. Well, the robot's only as well behaved as you program it to be. And so that is the cool thing about robotics. So on the one hand, you're building a structure, and on the other hand, you are making it do something. And so will robots ever rule the world? I don't think so, because the humans need to still program them and teach them to do things. So it's open for debate for next time. All right. So I'm going to introduce programming. I'm going to introduce programming in terms of how we teach our learners. And you'll see when you go to the MOOC portal, and Tumelo's happy to help you if you need some guidance there. If you go to the MOOC portal under syllabus, you will find the syllabus document. And so in unit number 2, it's the introduction to programming. And the programming is set out that it is, there are objectives. So what do we want to achieve in this unit? But at the same time, there must be activities to reinforce that learning. But know that when you need to, this is the groundwork. So these are the fundamentals. The fundamentals of programming are taught here now. And then your learner needs to, it's not a linear, it's just not linear. So the learner will learn, sometimes it's quite steep uphill learning, and sometimes it's a little bit more flatten. But whatever they do need to have grasp of the basics. They really need to have a grasp of the basics. So, so MOOC number 1, or M1, is really about reinforcing it. We're not doing sensors yet. We're not doing fancy attachments, nothing. We're just making, which we started yesterday, the chassis. This is the Riley rover. No attachments, no sensors, but it's to teach the basics of navigation and problem solving. Okay, and so I think kind of we get this right in M1, and then we move on to M2. So just hold on. Okay, so that is the thinking. You've got to get through M1, and your learners have got to grasp everything on M1, and then we go to M2. So just another kind of, if your robot wheels are always at the front, because you need traction. You need traction to hold onto the surface that makes your robot go. Okay, and the caster wheel at the back is then just to make sure that your brain is level. I just want, and I'll address this in M2. The caster wheel is fine if you're going to go forward, but for accuracy in a robotics competition, you will eventually need to replace this with a little wheel, which is more reliable. Sometimes this caster wheel gets stuck, So just FYI, learned lessons. The caster wheel is not that reliable if you're going to do a lot of back traveling, reverses. Okay, so this is your robot. So when you're in class, you need to be able to quickly debug. We're going to do that in M3. I'll teach you some things about debugging. But basically, if your robot's going forward like this, okay, if it's going forward, I always say to the learners, imagine you were driving the robot. So if you were sitting behind, you were in the robot, then the wheel on your left-hand side, this wheel, okay, is connected to this motor, and this motor is connected with this wire to port number B, okay? And then on the other side is the C motor. There's the C motor connected to this wheel, and this motor's wire is connected to port number. That's C, and that's B. Okay, this is the left-hand side is connected to port B, and that's one to port C, and port A usually of the EV3, it's got A, B, C, and D. A is usually then your arm, which we're going to do in MOOC number 2. All right, so if your robot is going to go forward, to make your robot go forward, the motors rotate. To make the motors rotate, you're going to program it. All right. So if both motors are turning at the same rotations, your robot will go perfectly forward. Okay, but it's a vector quantity. So if it's going to go forward, if it's going like this and it's going forward, then I'll show you how to program it. Then if you've got negative rotations, it's going in the opposite direction. So that is how we reverse. All right. And then the other thing is, if you have 2 wheels or 2 motors and you switch this one off, all right, and you only turn this one, so then this one is going to turn, and then the whole robot will then turn. Similarly, if you switch off this motor and you let only this one rotate, it's going to go that way. And that is how you make a robot turn. Okay, now we're not finished yet. I'm going to carry on. But okay, this is what we're doing. We just want the robot go forwards, go backwards, go left, go right, reverse left. That is one of the first fundamentals, navigation of a robot. Okay, so I'm going to open my presentation, and I always say, oh, I'm going to share. I'll figure this out soon. It's just like, all right. And my laptop is, I think, on holiday mode at the moment, but anyway, we are here. All right, let's put that off and that off.
It's been a long day. It's been a long year. It's only halfway through.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, it's coming through. Okay, yes. I can see it.
Excellent. All right, so we are at Unit 2, and I'm always saying there are only 4 units, and if you're at Unit 2, then by the end of this hour, you're halfway. So hang in there. Well done. We're getting there. All right. Tumelo will share all the navigation information, but basically all the recordings and the content is on the M1 portal. And we've got inquiries, and Tumelo and Anzani live in the post box. So you're welcome to go. All right, so we've already moved down. Yesterday we did some building. Today we're going to do some programming and some moving or navigation. And I always find this is the most exciting part when you're doing an when you're doing a face-to-face, not online, when you're doing a face-to-face workshop, this is where it gets really loud. And so once the learners have built their robots, and then we usually take a 10-minute break, and then we say, okay, now we're going to make the robot do something, then the excitement is just so overwhelming. It's just wonderful. All right. And the whole purpose of this is then to equip you as coaches, whether you're an educator, a student, parent, facilitator. The whole goal is that you will then be able to coach a team of learners in robotics. And please ask questions. Okay. So what we've got the engineering, then the programming, and 21st century skills. And at all times, there's this interplay between engineering and programming and the development of your 21st century skills. And as much as you are developing 21st century skills, you have to give your learners credit. They're also developing your 21st century skills. And so in that, there's lots of time. It takes a lot of time. We use the robotics kits, the EV3 or the Spike Prime. If you don't have access to a robotics kit, there are a couple of virtual options. There's the Virtual Robotics Toolkit, but you can use the trial version, and then there's the Lego Digital Designer. The software, however, is free. So you can download it, but you must install it, obviously, on your laptop so that you can actually use it. Okay, so there's lots of types of robots. But we're going to start with motorized robots. So like what I've just shown you with the Riley Rover. So wheels in the front, brain on the top, motors, and making the robot go forward and backwards. Okay. So in terms of robotic kits, so I kind of started here with the NXTs. If I can find any RCXs, I'd love to get my hands on them. The EV3s are where I had most of my teams, and most of my teams participating in competitions. And now, obviously, amid all this COVID and chaos, they've brought out the Spike Primes. So, and it's not to say the one is better than the other one, or that one's an upgrade from the other one. It's just that's well, it's a lighter version. The EV3s, the Spike Prime is a lighter version, but I cannot tell you that it's better than the EV3 because that's where my heart is. But nonetheless, robotics kits are robotics kits, and we're using them to advance science in this country. Okay, so this is the new kit on the block. This is the Spike Prime robotics kit. You can see it's very colorful. Some really cool pieces to build the robot, and hopefully you will soon be designing your own robots. Okay, so why do we have a programming language then? Well, otherwise the robot would just sit. It won't be able to do anything. All right. So the programming language is the language that we use to communicate to the brain what we need to be done. Okay, so you can read this code. You can read it in the little parts. So there's 3 different languages that you can use at the moment, and we're just in this transition phase, and it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. All right. It's not that one is better than the other one. It's your preference, and we're trying to support everybody. If you have some cool examples, you're welcome to share them, especially some activities, you're welcome to share. All right. So if you have an EV3 and you use the EV3 lab version, then this is the kind of icon-based programming that you use. Remember, we use icon-based programming languages and colorful programming languages rather than text-based programming languages, because programming is abstract, okay? And syntax with commas and semicolons is abstract. So what we're trying to do is on the continuum of programming languages, we try and push the limit on the left-hand side to more concrete and less abstract programming languages. So there we go. That's the EV3 lab version. I'll give you a demonstration now, then I'll show you. All right. So, but if you have the EV3 robotics kit, you can also use the classroom version, and that's the Scratch version of the programming language. And I know most learners are using Scratch in the classroom now. So there's also an option. Okay. And then if you're using Spike Prime, well, then you use the Spike Prime language, which is Scratch. Okay. So there's various options, and yeah, so you can, whatever you choose is then fine. Obviously, it must be suitable to your kit. All right, now I'm just going to go into the next. Just going to make sure that you can see my next version. Yes?
Yes, Dr. Gauss, I can see.
All right. All right. So before we come to the programming, you need to know that what you program your robot to do is what it's going to do. All right. And so what you as coach need to build up is kind of a checklist to say what will happen if the robot doesn't function correctly. Okay, and so that's a good conversation that we're going to have just now. Often the team has written this programming, and then the robot just doesn't function correctly. So that is part of the debugging, and you as a coach must be able to spot that quickly. So it's a steeper learning curve for you than it is for the kids, but worthwhile. All right. All right. So you do need to know in which directions your wheeled robot can move. I know I had a team one year that turned it around and made the robot do all funny things, but you must be able to explain how a wheeled robot moves forward, and how it moves backwards. Okay. And you'll also find if you send teams to a competition and the judges ask them, so how does your wheeled robot move? They need to be able to answer it. So for you, you need to understand it. Your team definitely needs to understand it. Okay. And then obviously, can you program the robot to go left or right? And why does the program? Sometimes you need to ask, and maybe we need to. So if you have a robot that's programmed to move forward for a number of rotations, okay, why does it go further when you have bigger wheels? Well, the rotation is one rotation. Whether you have a big wheel or a little wheel, it still turns once, okay? So if you have a big wheel and it goes one rotation, that's a further distance. And if you have a little wheel that goes one rotation, then at that distance. So, and I think the important thing about navigation is that learners actually need to understand what they're doing. And I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it a gazillion times. Coaches, do not program the robots of your learners. Don't. You're not contributing to any of their learning. You are not contributing to any of their thinking. You are not contributing to any of their skills development. If you, as the coach, take the robot, program it, and tell them just to press the button. The learners need to program the robots themselves. Okay? You are a coach, you coach. If you're a mentor, you mentor, but you do not do. The learners do. Okay? It's sometimes very difficult, but you as a coach need to guide your learners. You do not give them the answers and you do not do it for them. All right. So if you see in the syllabus document, there's objectives. So you need to be able to move the robot forward. You need to be able to, and it's rotations, degrees, and seconds. There's 3 options. And just that is a whole lesson in of itself. You program the robots to say go 3 rotations, 3 degrees, and 3 seconds. And then you mark it off. If you've got a nice tabletop, you can mark it off with chalk, or you mark it off with a insulation tape kind of marker. And your learners need to be able to define or explain why does the robot go forward on 3 rotations, go further than 3 degrees, and oh my word, 3 seconds just goes on forever. All right. And then you need to be able to make the robot go forward and move backwards, and then for different power settings. So it goes forward and backwards. If it goes slowly forwards and slowly backwards, that's fine. But forwards backwards is kind of a jerky movement, is on 100% power. And so the weight, you have a weight block. So you go forward, you stop, much like in a car, you stop, you wait. And this is the momentum effect. So you wait and then you go backwards. Okay, so it's just to avoid that momentum. Okay, and then I'll show you now, but there's move steering as well, or tank. So if steering, if you've got both motors moving at the same, if you've got tank, you kind of can control the motor separately. All right. Okay, so what I decided to do was to show you what the program looks like. Okay, so if you want to read the code to make the robot move forward, so that's going forward with 50% power, number of rotations is 3, and there's motor B and motor C. Okay. Just in good programming, I put a B and a C reset. I'll show you now why reset is. But actually, inside your, I don't know whether you can see, inside your motor, there are 7 gears. And so there's slippage. And so before you start a movement, you should first reset the motors, and then you can move forward. Okay. So you're making the robot move forward for 3 rotations with 50% power. It's exactly the same as this code here. So set the motors C and D, although that's B and C, that's C and D. It's different motors. You set C to 50% power, set D to 50% power, and then you move forward for 3 rotations. And then you stop moving. Exactly the same. Okay. As the programs get more complex, you will also realize that there's not always only one answer, and that is part of robotics. There's not only always one answer, and different learners and programs. Okay, as long as the outcome is the same. All right, so this is the EV3 software. This is kind of what the canvas looks like, and I'll show you just now how we're going to program it. and then you write programs up there. In both Spike and EV3, they've got lots of tutorials, and you can try it, and you can, there's little robots and little videos, and you can try it. They are there to support you. Okay, so this is the canvas where we're going to write our program. I'm going to show you that now. There's always a program within a project. For the Spike Prime, we just write a whole lot of programs. Okay. Oh, this is what I was telling you about a convention. The convention is the left wheel is port B and the right wheel is port C. It just makes debugging for the coach mentor much easier. All right. So B and C must move forward. That's positive. And then to move back, they must have a rotation. Okay. Okay, so let's read this code. Okay, so I've put in a reset A as well. I don't know why. But anyway, B and C go forward, 50% power, 1 rotation. Then on the clock, it stops for 1 second. And then it goes back 4 and 50% power for 720 rotations. Okay. So 1 rotation is 360 degrees. So 2 rotations is 720 degrees. So it will pass by the place where it stopped. Okay, so it's going to go in the middle. It goes forward for 1 rotation, and then it comes back 2 rotations, which means it passes over the point and reverses. Okay. And is it reversing? No, nobody's stopping me. It's not reversing. What's it doing? It's turning the corner. Here, it's only 1 motor. There's B and C. There's 2 motors. It's going forward. All right. Then it waits 1 second, and then it turns the corner. If motor B is on, then it's turning towards the right, and it's turning for 2 rotations. Okay. It says here, turning right. All right. Here again, this is about with an arm with a medium motor. We'll get to that in 2. All right. So you will notice in good programming, you just reset the motors. You have to reset the motors because there's an accumulation of gear slippage that now needs to be reworked. When you change direction, you must have the pause, otherwise there's momentum, and forward is usually positive and backwards is negative. Okay, so that goes forward 1 rotation, waits, and then reverses 1 rotation. Okay. Okay. Some other good programming habits that you need to have. You need to save your programs as often as possible. Okay, you can write your little programs, test them, and then you put your pieces together, and then you are then ready to put the whole lot together, and then you use comments to say what is happening, what is this program about. Some people use the comments up the top here, like this one here, or some people use it in the string to add comments to their programs. Okay, I said to you previously, if you use move steering, then both motors, this is move steering, then both B and C, they both move at a 50% power. If you're going to move tank, then your one motor goes at 30% power and your other motor goes at 40% power. So obviously the one with the more power is going to kind of move it further. Okay. All right. So how do you know which is which and who is who? So there's always 4, on the EV3, there's 4 output ports, A, B, C, and D. And by default or by convention, we usually use B and C for the wheels, and we move A and D for the arms, for the lift, for the power and attachments. All right. Then for input, we've got also 4 ports. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those are the sensors, and then we're going to do the sensors in the next session. Okay. So that is your input, but we're not going there yet, just so that we can understand where those come from. Okay. I'm going to show you on the screen. You can actually see which ports are connected to your robot. So B is connected to a large motor, C is connected to a large motor, and A is connected to a medium motor. So that tells you exactly what is connected. If you think it's connected and it's not, it'll also tell you. Okay. So just think, your robot doesn't actually know anything about anything, and much less about your physical world. So it will not know that there's a wall in front of it. It will not know that there's an end of a table. It will not know where it's going. It will not know what you're thinking. All right. You need to program it to do things. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you a demonstration, but I'll just carry on first of all. So in terms of programming resources, there is a EV3 lessons, and that's with Builder Dude 35. He also gives lessons. And then there's, sorry?
Don't worry, Dr. Holes, I'll handle it. In the meantime,
Thank you.
if you have any questions, kindly please raise your hand, or to avoid disturbances, please mute yourselves. Over to you, Dr. Holes. Thank you.
Thank you. And then if you have a Spike Prime kit, then you can go to Prime Lessons, and they guide you through all the programming lessons one at a time based on your curriculum document, which you're going to download from the M1 portal. But there are a whole lot of people really wanting to make programming really easy, okay? And so there's a whole lot of programs or YouTube videos that you can watch. Some of them are more meaningful than others, but I encourage you to share. So come to the lesson tomorrow and tell us which one is your favorite, which has you learned the most from when you look at all these videos. You'll find that the programming environment or the robotics environment are a very sharing community. Okay, this is Tumelo, and he's going to tell you about the portal. And I'm going to come back to you, Tumelo, but I just would like to say, please install the software and complete units 1 and 2, and then write some programs. Actually do some of the programming activities in the document. All right, so I'm going to, Tumelo's going to give you a brief introduction how to get to the MOOC portal, and I'm going to just pause for a minute. Tumelo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Holes. Thank you so much also to our participants. If you have any questions, kindly please raise your hand, and then we'll certainly attend to you. In the meantime, this is the MOOC portal. So I've been having meetings with people regarding this. The basics is that you go to on the website. It's just you click on mooc.unisa.ac.za/portal. So you can see there on the UNISA logo, there is welcome, how to register, site browser, new account, reset, password, and help. So immediately when you click on how to register, you will find a PDF. This PDF document explains the instructions of how to register for a MOOC portal. Here on step 2, it's an option. In fact, it's information that tells you how to create a new account. So here on the new account, it's very simple. You just need to create your own user ID, and then you include all those details there. But I just saw this morning that there's some changes on this. So what you can do, you simply go to new account for our new users. You create your own user ID, and then you create your, of course, you fill in your name, surname, your email address, you create your password. So immediately when you're done creating your password and your user ID and everything, you simply go to the welcome page. This will be a welcome page. Remember that you have already created your user ID and your password. You click on login. So when you click on login, this will be the first page that you see, which is an overview document. Here on the overview document is an explanation of what is a MOOC and the things that you'll find on the MOOC. So by the way, a MOOC is a massive open online platform which is 0 rated, meaning that all recordings that you'll be finding here, or immediately when you enter here, it does not charge you. So now, just underneath the UNISA logo, when you go on membership, immediately when you click on membership, you will see that there are different types of portals. Here it says website. So you look for iSet Robotics M1 2021 as you are scrolling. So immediately when you see iSet Robotics M1 2021, you click on join. When you click on join, you will have to go to membership or my current sites. And then, in fact, before you find this iSet Robotics M1 2022, you have to go to joinable sites for you to find the iSet Robotics M1 2022. So the page will look something like this. So because I've already enrolled for the M1, it won't appear here. But for you, you will simply see it and then you click on join. If you do not see it there, what you do, you go here on the search button and then you type I-set robotics. And then immediately when you click on search, it will pop up and then you click on join. After clicking join, it will certainly appear on my current sites and then it will be easier for you to click on it. Immediately when you click on the I-set Robotics M1 MOOC 2022, this will be your first page that you're seeing. For now, I'll leave it here. If you have any problems related to MOOC registrations or how to go about using the MOOC portal, please don't hesitate to email me on i-set@unisa.ac.za and your matter shall be resolved. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Dr. Gous. In the meantime, please check your chat boxes for information. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Gous.
Make it sound so easy, Tumelo.
I see Fisher has a hand already.
Okay. Hi, Shamaine.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Dr. Gous, you said that it is good practice for us to reset the motors.
Yes.
How do we do that on Scratch?
I'll show you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. Anybody else?
So far that was her. Kindly please, oh, there's another hand again. It's KK. Yes, KK, go ahead.
Hi, KK.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody's well.
Good.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session. I just want to highlight a few things, and it's regarding the questions that we've been receiving. Everybody needs to be aware that Dr. Gous uses an old software for EV3, which is a lathe-based programming. When we come to our workshops, we use the new EV3 software. We also use Spike. Sometimes it's a bit confusing when they're going through the portal. The questions I've been getting is, which one do we respond to? I would suggest that everybody uses the Spike content to actually answer through their portals. Only the people that are attending our workshops, because that's what we base it on new software. If you're having challenges with installing the old software, it's version 1.4.5. Version 1.4.5. So I thought I should just, let people be aware because I've been getting messages of the same question. Thanks, Dr. Gous, and thank you to your team.
Okay, so in the documents are the EV3 software, the examples, and there is the Spike examples. There are examples in both. Okay.
Correct. Yes. On the M1 overview document. That is correct.
Yes.
Unit 2.
Yes.
I see we have lots of hands
Yes.
greeting us. Angie, go for it. Unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm one of the newbies that has no clue what's going on, and
Okay.
it's quite overwhelming.
No. You here, Angie? You're here. You're here.
It's a start. So we don't have a kit yet, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to understand the whole lot through the websites and through these trainings and that. But what I want to know, I'm not going to ask too much about how the program and all that works and what we've discussed, because it's just too much to ask. But what I do want to know is these trainings for June, do you redo these kind of trainings every month, or is it every quarterly? How does that work? Because I think I will need to hear this again.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So we have a schedule for each month, and depending on the availability, we run the programs. However, Angie, there's good news, and if you send Tumelo an email, he can get you access to the MOOC portal, because all the recordings are available there. And I promise you can watch the recordings as often as you like.
Okay, awesome. Well, I have registered and all of that yesterday, but I got very lost and confused, and eventually I put it away, so I'll go back again when I have time.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
It's all good, Angie. It's all good. It's
Thanks.
half the battle one that you pitch. Awesome. Awesome.
All right, we've got a question also from Gift.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself, Gift.
Hi, Gift.
Hi, Dr. Hui, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yes.
Yes, I wanted to find out, like, when you attend maybe Unit 1, do you get those results immediately so that you can check your progress, or will they be sent on November when you guys evaluate everything?
Okay, so the evaluation of the portfolios that you submit at the end of your MOOC, that is ongoing. So as submissions come in, there is a team working behind the scenes to evaluate those portfolios. But your MCQs or your quizzes, that should reflect immediately. Is it not reflecting, Gift?
No, I didn't see.
Okay, then I will, let's have this conversation tomorrow. I'm just going to make a note and go and see on the settings. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll have this conversation again tomorrow. Then yeah, let me just go and check the settings then. All right.
All right. Thank you so much
for raising that.
for answering that question, and thank you, Gift. We've got a question from Mbali Nkomo. Unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, Mbali.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Gift. I also attempted to do the quiz, but I didn't get the results immediately.
Okay, I'll go and check that setting then. Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for raising that. Thank you.
We've got a question also from, I think it's Macy. Kindly please unmute yourself.
Hi, Macy. No.
I think it's got a problem with the microphone.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
unmute yourself there, please. We can't hear you. You're still muted. Otherwise, for any person who has a question, feel free to post it on the chat box or to raise your hand, and we'll definitely attend to your question. Don't hesitate to look at the chat box, because on the chat box there's information of the emails that you can send. I see your microphone is muted. Yes.
Ah, there we go.
Okay, can I continue?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to know the steps that they've been showing us. Like, I go to welcome page, then there is an overview document. I only see the overview document. So for membership and the so-called, I don't see them again.
All right. Should I show her now,
Yeah.
Dr. Khoso? All right.
Yeah.
Then you just got Grace, Macy. Grace has fallen on you. So you were saying you cannot
Yes,
find
I'm on that page. I'm on that page right
where
now.
it's written membership.
Yes, because I'm using a phone. I only see the. Yes, I'm on that page. We are on this. No, for membership, I don't see it. I see only overview.
Oh, I think the reason why you do not see overview, it might be because you are using a phone, number one. Number two, just check on your left tab whether can you see the following tab that follows overview, whether is it profile. Underneath profile it should be membership.
They are not there.
Or what
on
we
my
can do,
Okay, I'll
is
try.
arrange
I'll
a
try.
one-on-one meeting whereby I can show you how to do this via the phone as well, or with a computer.
Okay, because now I'm now looking in with the tablet. Maybe after the lesson, I'll try using the tablet to view them.
That's a good idea.
All right, no problem then.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Any other questions? We don't have questions for now, Dr. Holmes.
Okay. So,
Oh,
excellent.
sorry, I see
Oh, you
KK
got another?
to say. Are your participants okay, KK, today? Are they able to log in?
Yes, most definitely they're able to log into Melo. Thank you for that. We haven't had any issues with regards to technicality, just people, not being able to attend for some reasons. Just on the point of using your EV3 with Scratch, I'd like people to understand that when you plug in EV3 to Scratch, you are now needing a third-party application to link them together, which is the Scratch link. So therefore, all your functionalities on Scratch, they don't become fully functional to program your EV3 brick. Meaning the reset options that you normally have to reset your motors and all of that, they're not as normal as you would use, the block-based programming. I would like to just, as a word of advice, if you're going to use EV3, rather use the new software because it offers more blocks and features to program better for your EV3. The only time that you should actually use Scratch, and that is my opinion, it's only if you are not able to access any of the other softwares and you have to use a third-party application to link your robot, which is your EV3, and the actual Scratch. So there is an additional software to it. So rather not.
All right. Thank you so much, KK. That was great. Thank you so much. Any other questions from our participants regarding today's session? Feel free to raise your hand or to unmute yourself. So far, we don't have any hands, Dr. House.
All right, excellent. Okay, so in the process of this evening, when you're going to do your homework, you're going to download the software and you're going to install it on your laptop. And then you're going to write a little program. Then your robot must go forward and it must pause for a second, and then it must make a sound, and then it must come back. So this is part of exploring the programming. And then we will come together tomorrow, same time, and we will see what kinds of codes you have generated and see whether we kind of have the same code or whether we have different codes. Okay, easy peasy.
Sorry,
Yes.
Dr. Foss, we had hands immediately you started.
Oh, okay.
I see Clean Touch as well as there was Ginelwe. Go ahead, Clean Touch.
Hi, Dr. Ross.
Hi.
I was asking in terms of videos that have to be submitted. Are they working as evidence, or are they part of the portfolio?
Go look through the questions in the portfolio. There's not many videos that need to be submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. You include them in your there's a template for the portfolio that's also on this under the syllabus.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. Excellent.
We had a question from, Ginelwe Kate raised her hand up, so she quickly dropped her hand. I don't know. Okay, I see the microphone is muted. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to ask, I'm a bit lost here. I'm kind of new, so I'm
That's
lost.
why you raised your hand and dropped it again. That's why. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask if there's someone that can maybe help me. Because I'm a bit lost, so I don't know what's happening. I missed class yesterday, so.
Okay, so we are doing this is robotics, the basics of robotics, and there's a previous recording available on the MOOC portal. You can go and listen to that for the Unit 1 recording. So it's the Unit 1 is about building the robot. So we just built a basic robot like this. Okay, and then today we did kind of how to make it work, and you've got to make it. So we're only doing navigation, just programming the robot to go forwards, go backwards, left and right. And you write your computer program, and then you download it onto the brain of your robot. And we'll be doing some practical stuff tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Anyone who is not lost, please raise your hand, or if you are lost, please raise your hand so that you can be found. Or feel free to type on the chat if you do not want to speak. All questions are allowed, and if you have missed our sessions previously, for example, if you were not there in class yesterday, our recordings are available on the MOOC portal as well. I think that's it, Dr. Holmes.
Okay.
Not have any questions.
All right. Well, it's definitely been a very busy session, and I'm really grateful for that. So, well done. We are now halfway. We've got Unit 2 done about the programming. And programming is about practicing and perseverance. So I'm really encouraging you to download the software and then to try and write a computer program, and then we'll do some practical stuff tomorrow. Okay. All right. So we have 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes to take a leg break, a walk break. Somebody said, well, you can just walk outside and hug the tree. But it'll be great to go get some tea or coffee, and then we will see each other back here at 4 o'clock, and we will do some information on robotics competitions and the opportunities that we have in this country. All right, there we go. So, yes, Cabello, do you want to close the session for us?
Thank you everyone for attending today's session. And as Dr. Jose said that we have a 10 minutes break, and we'd like to see all of you in the next session for robotics. And the hands from, is it Miss Tole before I close?
Okay.
Really for that.
Okay. Thanks, Cabello. Mr. Tolia, your hand is up.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
I'm good. Yesterday I had a problem with logging in at 4 o'clock. I logged out after the first session, but then when I came back, it just didn't go through. So I don't know if I should log out now or wait until you guys come back after 4.
No, it's another session. It's a different session.
So it's not robotics.
Yes, it is robotics, but the link that you use to get to this session, this is just for the 3 to 4 session.
Okay.
Okay. And there's another link to get to the 4 to 5 session.
Where do I find that link?
It's on the invite.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
I will see you in the next session at 4 o'clock then. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you just now then. Okay. Thank you, team. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Is Casper ending the recording?
I'll quickly end the recording for you, Dr. Host.
Thank you very much.